What's up, everyone? This is Vicente.
And this is Izzy.
And welcome back to the IV Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to review Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. The first 6 minutes will be spoiler-free, but then after that will be spoilers. Now, Izzy, I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1. Now, spoiler-free. Izzy, this movie did not need to make me break like that.
No, it did not. I was not. I mean, yeah, we heard rumors, but I was not expecting to be that heartbroken and sad.
And if you don't cry, you're definitely going to feel something. Holy shit. And for this being James Gunn's possibly last Guardians movie, an MCU movie, he went out with the bang.
Yeah, he did. He put literally all his feelings out there for this trilogy, and we appreciate it.
He put so much of his heart and love into this movie. And knowing that maybe some of these people might not return, I know Chris Pratt says he wants to return as Star-Lord, and I'm sure the Guardians will return in King Dynasty and Secret Wars, but this is definitely like a goodbye movie for this team. You know, everyone did so good, from Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, and even Chris Pratt, and even Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother. Everyone did so good. You know, I never felt rushed with this movie. I never felt like it was taking its time. It was good. You know, and I'm going to say it. I think this is probably top 5 superhero trilogy and top 10 MCU movies.
Yeah, I agree. This movie was one of the best MCU movies that we have seen in a very long time.
And with the mixed reception that Phase 4 has gotten, you know, because the only Phase 4 movies I liked from the MCU were Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, and Multiverse of Madness. The others are kind of hit or miss. I think my least favorite ones are still the Black Widow movie, because, you know, why did Black Widow get a prequel movie after she died, which makes no sense. Thor: Love and Thunder, I really want to love it, but it has so many problems with it. But in our review, we're not going to go over the whole MCU. That will be a future episode where we do talk about the MCU as a whole, but we're just sticking to this Guardians trilogy. And thank you, James Gunn, for just putting your heart and soul into this project. You know, and I'm just going to say it right now. I told Izzy before we saw this movie that James Gunn he's a CEO of DC Studios now, so he'll be more involved with the DC movies. And he's making a new Superman movie, Superman Legacy. And I told Izzy, if this movie's really good, then I'll have trust in his new DC rebooted universe. And I can say 100% positively that DC is in good hands with James Gunn.
Yeah, it definitely makes me excited to see what James Gunn is going to do with the DC universe from now on. Yeah,
and like, I like this movie way better than Guardians 2. Not saying Guardians 2 was a bad movie, but it's just kind of like one of those ones where it's like, you know, whatever. But that first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, fucking phenomenal. It's the fact that James Gunn took some D and F list tier characters and made them into like superstars, you know, and that's the magic of Marvel, that they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man back then, or even the X-Men and Fantastic Four. They own some of the characters now, but back then they had to work with what they get. And then people, when the first Guardians movie came out, people said that that's going to be the movie that ruins Marvel Studios. No, it didn't. It goes to show that they can make bangers with some unknown characters, you know, unless you're a hardcore fan of the comics. Then you would know who the Guardians are. And if you weren't a fan of the comics, you had no idea who the hell this team was. Like, I've heard of their name, but I didn't know who was on the team.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. I literally had no clue who they were, so it was kind of really new when the first movie came out. But I will say, after watching the first movie, I fell in love with this group.
Yeah, and it's just so good. Like, this is one of the projects that James Gunn really puts his heart and soul into. Not saying he doesn't with his other projects, but this is one I can tell you, it's pretty personal to him. You know, and with that first Guardians movie, and with this trilogy as a whole, James Gunn said he wanted to not make it like Star Wars, but give it like a Star Wars type of feeling. And sure enough, there are a lot of Star Wars references in this whole trilogy.
Yeah, especially with this last movie, there are a lot of references.
Yeah, we're not going to say just yet.
No.
You know, but believe me when I say that this movie will at least make one tier come out.
Oh, for sure.
We're not going to say how yet, or, you know, when we talk about it, we'll talk about the spoilers in like a minute or two. Yeah, but Izzy, like, what would you give this movie?
I would give this movie probably a 9.5 out of 10.
I give it a 9.7 out of 10. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, yeah, maybe small nitpicks, but it's not enough to put it as a negative. Like we said, this movie was a good final goodbye to this team. you know, who knows? Maybe they'll come back. Maybe there'll be a new team. Well, we know we're not going to talk about them yet. We have like, what, how many more seconds would you say, Izzy?
Probably about a minute.
Yeah, so for our final spoiler-free thoughts, we love this movie. We highly recommend it.
Highly.
You know, even if you're just a casual fan of the Guardians or even just a casual moviegoer, you're going to love this movie.
Yeah, just be prepared. It is a tearjerker.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie to watch.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, it's just one of those movies where it wraps up everything in such a nice bow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to be honest, I think it's better than the Iron Man trilogy. Way better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's saying a lot because Tony Stark was the one that created this universe.
Yeah.
He started this whole MCU. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you happy, it'll make you sad, it'll make you cry, and it'll make you cheer.
It'll make you feel all the feels.
So yeah, like we said, go check it out in the movies, and after you've seen the movie, come back to this video, or if you just don't care about spoilers, stick around. So let me check my timer right now. We have, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Izzy, any last thoughts?
Definitely be prepared, but also if you love these characters, you are going to be happy with the ending.
Yeah, and letting you know if you're an animal lover, this is going to make you sad.
Yeah.
We're not going to say how just yet, or if you've seen the movie and you're just waiting for us to talk spoilers, and there goes the timer. So, all right, I'm going to say, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, spoiler talk. Oh my God. Let me just say, rest in peace to my homies, Teeps, Floor, and Lila. Like, those deaths hit me so hard.
Those were so sad. Like, because like if you watch the trailer, you don't think that this is gonna happen, but it does, and I told Izzy,
I thought Rocket, I knew Rocket, or I thought Rocket would have died, but my original thoughts was, I thought Rocket was going to be connected to that otter, like maybe as a wife or a girlfriend, and he was going to find her and retire from the Guardians and live with her. But then, nope, they fucking ripped our hearts. And I told Izzy, and we took our nephews to watch this movie. I told them after the movie, I told them the minute they introduced Floor, Teeps, and Lila, I was like, nope, not getting attached to these characters. Even though it was a flashback, I'm like, nope, not getting attached, because I know what James Gunn is going to do. Yeah. He's going to make you fucking feel for these characters. And then they had that cute scene where they're giving each other names. I'm just like, oh, I love these characters. And then Lila gets shot, dies. That almost made a tear come out.
Yeah.
And then when Rocket looks behind him, because there's gunfire going around, Rocket looks behind him and he sees Floor and Teep dead. And that's when I had the tear come out. I'm like, yep. And let me just say this. This is a Rocket Raccoon movie.
Yeah.
This is his origin story. The one scene that made like 3 tears come out was when, after they're done experimenting on him and putting all these cybernetic parts into him, when he's in his cage, and we get introduced to Floor, Teeps, and Lila, and he's so scared and he's hurt. And it's because it faces reality of what a lot of animals face, and like fucked up rescue shelters, just any shelters in general. You know, they're scared, they're hurt, and then when Lila gives him that wet rag to heal, like to cool off his injuries, believe me when I say, I'm like, yep, this is it.
Yeah,
and you know, just saying goodbye to these characters, because I thought Drax was gonna die. No, he ends up living, but Drax gets a better character redemption arc in this movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah, he's still the comical dude, but when he finally becomes a dad again, it's like, oh, you know, heartstrings. You know, and then Nebula trying to find herself, you know, stop trying to hate herself, love herself.
Yes.
And then we get Groot, where Groot is just kind of his own guy. He's got his own thing going on. You know, and then we get to Gamora, and I'm just going to say it. Gamora was a good character in this movie. I wasn't sure how they were going to pull it off correctly, but my God, they pulled it off really correctly.
Yeah, I was kind of worried when it came to Gamora's character on how much, if they were going to keep playing on the storyline, or if they were kind of just going to like move along and focus on the new dynamic, which I'm glad that they finally did though. So it was really refreshing rather than Quinn being sad all the time. Yeah,
and you know, it's just, yeah, this movie, God, I can't stop thinking about it. It's a good movie. It's good. This movie made you feel emotions that you never thought Marvel would ever do again. Because the last movie that made us feel this way was Infinity War, Endgame, and No Way Home.
Yep.
But yeah, this movie was good. Those deaths, like I said, I'm surprised Rocket didn't die. Or I'm not surprised. I thought he was. But I thought Drax or Star-Lord was definitely going to die for sure.
Yeah, I thought someone was going to die in this movie, and they definitely teased it, I think, 3 times.
Oh, they kept teasing. They kept teasing it, which will be a mixed feeling, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, all in all, this was a really great movie.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got to watch it opening day.
All right, so Izzy, should we get to our positives right now?
I think we should.
All right, let me get to our positives right now. Okay, so starting off with our first positive is the Guardians and the side characters. The Guardians were good. You can tell they're different from how we saw them from Thor, Love and Thunder, Endgame, and Infinity War. They evolved. You know, they're a family now, basically. Yeah, and it's just amazing how in this trilogy and some other MCU-related stories, but we're going to keep it simple with the trilogy. You know, from the first movie, they hated each other. They couldn't stand each other. And then the second movie, they're like, oh, they're a close-knit group. And then 3, they're family. They're basically family. You know, they all have this family dynamic, and it's so good. And it makes me excited for when Marvel will finally give us a faithful adaptation of the Fantastic Four, because they can get the family aspect down.
Yeah.
You know, even these side characters like Cosmo, the astronaut dog, and Sean Gunn's, or Krillin. Is that his name? Yeah, Krillin. I liked him.
Yeah,
he was really good. Every character in this movie, even like the small side characters, were just good themselves. And I just love how even like these people, the Guardians cast can come back in like 20 years, and I'm pretty sure they would still have the same chemistry they do now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the character, even the smaller character arcs throughout this movie, are done so well, and they are kept mainstream and still connected to the story. Even if it's not on screen a lot, it still does a good job connecting to everything in the end.
Yeah, and it still connects to the Guardians Christmas holiday special, which we're not going to talk about because, you know, like I said, we're just keeping it Guardians trilogy. But yeah, everyone does a good job. You know, there wasn't even one character I felt like there was just I was bored with. Everyone was good. You know, maybe there was a character that you thought was annoying, but for me, I liked everyone.
Yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed everybody's story arc.
Yep. And now on to our second positive, the high evolutionary villain. Dude, he's an antagonist. I'm going to say this right now. I like him better than King the Conqueror.
For now.
Oh, this is who King should have been. Yeah. So here's the thing. In Ant-Man 3, Kang kept talking about how he was this big, evil dude. Yeah, we saw some snippets, but the High Evolutionary, this man was just a psycho. This man was just evil. He had no sympathy, no redemption, and I like that. Marvel needs that. We need a high threat. And so I trust that they'll make Kang a better character. You know, they were testing the waters. They're just getting their feet wet.
Yeah.
But the High Evolutionary, he's an asshole.
He did not hold anything back when it came to this movie, especially when it came to Rocket's backstory. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. No, this movie made you hate him. I was like, man, I'll throw a fist with this dude. You know, and for me, just because I'm a huge animal lover, I love animals.
Yeah.
And so, like, even seeing scenes to where he's torturing animals, like, you know, it was getting to me a little bit just because I hate animal cruelty. You know, if you mess with the animal like that, then you deserve to get your ass beat.
Yeah.
But, you know, before I get off topic, but yeah, he's up there for MCU villains. I would say maybe even like top 5. Yeah. He was good. And what's funny is that I know the actor's name. I just don't know how to say it. But he was also in a Peacemaker show, another James Gunn related project, TV show. Fucking good. I love Peacemaker. I highly recommended it. He was their boss, and he was funny. I liked him.
I liked him in the movie.
What would you say was like your favorite quality of him?
My favorite quality in the show, or
no, just in the movie Guardians.
I don't know. I don't think there was anything redeemable.
No, not redeemable. Just your favorite quality.
Oh, my favorite quality was just how like cutthroat he was. Like he didn't care at all about the people around him, just himself and his goal. And
I'm not gonna lie, I liked his motivation. He wants to be a god. You know, his whole thing is that he's testing on these animals from Earth to like experiment on, so he can create the perfect world, which is called Counter Earth, as we see in the movie, to where it's like Earth, but there's no crime and violence. He wants to perfect everything, so he's a god to these people. You know, and it's a shame we never really got his comic accurate look. But we get little snippets of it where like his face gets torn off, and they say it's just a mask, but we never get that comic accurate face mask, and it sucks. But you know what? I still love the High Evolutionary, and it's a shame that he's gone now. But I would have liked to have seen him maybe for like two more movies, something. You know, I think he could have been an Avengers villain. You know, but yeah, High Evolutionary. Good villain.
And one more thing, if you think he's evil, his own people turned on him.
Yeah, his own people are scared of him. Like, the fact that your own people were like trying to kill you and take over, that's
how
bad.
That's how bad.
Yeah. And number 3 on our positive list, the emotions and tone of this movie. Like we said in our spoiler-free part, this movie made you sad.
Mm-hmm.
It made me tear up a little bit. Like I said, with the animal cruelty, Peter trying to make Gamora remember who he is. Granted, she's from the past, and she's in that timeline. She's never met Peter and the rest of the Guardians yet, minus Nebula, because that's her sister. And so James Gunn does a good movie of balancing the comedy, action, and the emotions.
Yes, he does. And like one of my favorite things about the movie is just all the emotions it has, but also it keeps up with the good comedy and it keeps up with the good action, and it doesn't get lost. It meshes well all the way through the movie.
Yeah, like, there wasn't, and the MCU is kind of guilty of like having a serious moment, and then all of a sudden there's like a joke inserted here or two. This movie does it, but it does it in a way to where it's not bad. It's like, okay, these are just how some of these characters are.
Exactly, and he's kept that going through the whole entire trilogy, so we expect that from these characters. That's why it wasn't out of place.
Yeah, but like I said, you can tell James Gunn went all out for this movie, and then I'm surprised he dropped that F-bomb. I thought they play it for jokes and like have like either bleep it out somehow or like he gets interrupted, but no. I was shocked when he told Nebula, now open the fucking door.
I know.
I was like, oh, okay, damn. It's just a taste of when Marvel will finally do Deadpool.
I know. And
put him in their universe. It's just a testing of the water. But yeah, tone and emotion of this movie, perfect. Yes. And now number 4 on our positive list, the soundtrack. Now, throughout this trilogy, they have had some amazing soundtracks, like with classic rock, soul music, oldies, and these are music from James Gunn's personal playlist.
Yeah, the music throughout this entire movie was spot on. I don't think there was one song that I didn't think was out of place.
Yeah, even like alongside with the movie when he played like these rock songs and other older songs, I was singing along to them. And he has good taste in music. Yeah. And so it's nice that he was adding some of his own personal playlist to this whole trilogy. He went out with a bang with these songs. Like hell, I remember when the first movie came out, I bought the playlist, the soundtrack and everything. It was awesome. I might even buy the playlist for this one.
Same. It was so good.
Yeah, when James Gunn does a movie, he's gonna go all out with that soundtrack, and he's gonna remix it to a point where it's gonna sound so good.
Yep.
All right, and number 5 on our positive list, Peter finally letting go of Gamora. Now, like we said, the Gamora that he knows and that we know died in Infinity War. That character is done. But then in Endgame, as we saw, Gamora came back. But it was from the past. So this Gamora has never met Peter and the Guardians, or she's met him, but she doesn't have that emotional attachment. And I was afraid that, that Marvel was going to take the easy way route and somehow have Gamora and Peter fall in love again. And I kept telling Izzy before this movie came out, and I told others that I want this movie to finally be about Peter letting Gamora go.
Yeah.
Accepting that she's really gone. And that kind of applies in real life to when we lose a loved one, or when you break up with an ex, or when something tragic like that happens to where you still want to hold on to it, but then eventually you have to let it go.
Yeah.
And it mixes in with James Gunn's emotional tone, is that a lot of his movies, especially this Guardian trilogy, he gives a lot of life lessons, to where the first one is all about coming back from different backgrounds by having the same goals and agenda. And then number 2, and in Guardians 2 was Peter trying to find his dad. But in reality, Yondu was like his real dad, not, biologically, but he took care of him and raised him.
Yeah.
So there's that family aspect. And this movie was about confronting your past, not running away from it, and just embracing it, accepting that you had losses, but you need to let them change you into a better person.
And that's what, and like this movie is just... It's just such a really good movie. Yeah,
and like I said, Marvel could have just taken an easy way out and have Peter and Gamora fall in love again. Would I have hated it? No, but it would have just cheapened it. I would have been like, okay, well, that's predictable. So I'm glad that Marvel stuck to their guns and just had Peter finally let her go.
Yeah.
All right, and number 7 on our positive list is Adam Warlock. Now, I know people are probably bitching about how Adam Warlock seemed weak in this movie, but in reality, remember, they said it in the movie that the Sovereign people said that they released Adam Warlock from his cocoon way too early. So he's still evolving. And Adam Warlock is a very powerful being in the comics. He was involved in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. Like, he can whoop Thanos' ass. He can go toe-to-toe with a lot of these higher up in the Marvel comics. But yeah, I thought Adam Warlock was a good addition.
Yeah, I really liked his character. I didn't know much about him, so when I saw him in the movie, I thought he was a really good addition to this last movie, and I'm really excited to see him in the newer movies.
Yeah, and the actor that plays him, Will Poulter, I remember people were talking so much shit on him because this actor is from, if you've seen this comedy movie, We're the Millers, he's the adopted son, and people were talking so much crap saying, oh, he's gonna suck. No, he does a good job.
Yeah, he does.
And he does and when he has comedic parts, he does them well. You know, and you get little snippets of his power. Granted, he's not there yet, but that's what these future movies are going to be for him to evolve to turn into this character. Yeah. And so it's nice that he eventually joins the Guardians as part of their new team, as we see in the post-credits scene.
Yeah, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how his character evolves and, like, see his character dynamic and storyline come about, too.
Yeah, Adam Warlock, great addition to this movie.
Oh, for sure.
And now down to our last positive, and this is one I really want to talk about, Rocket Raccoon. Amazing character, voiced by Bradley Cooper. If you didn't know that, Bradley Cooper plays Rocket Raccoon. And fun fact, Adam Sandler was almost Rocket Raccoon, which would have been really weird. I like Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper does a great job.
Yeah, but just seeing how Rocket was in the first movie to just this raccoon that doesn't give a shit about anyone. And the second movie, he's still kind of an a-hole, you know, but he still loves these people. And Infinity War and Endgame, you get little snippets. And then it's not until this one to where his character gets really fleshed out. To me, I feel like this whole trilogy was kind of about Rocket in a way.
Yeah, I think it was too, and I think it's, especially with this last movie, it really focuses on his storyline, and it does an amazing job going to the past and more about him, and I really like that.
Yeah, and then, you know, the last week, Bradley Cooper was doing interviews, and he said he saw like a rough cut in this movie, and it said it was making him sad, and like it was making him cry, and you can definitely tell that Bradley Cooper gave it his all, and I don't think Bradley Cooper is going to come back for the Guardians. I mean, maybe just because it is a voiceover, so it's easy to just like voice a character. You don't have to show up physically to the set, but with the way they were shooting this movie, with the way this movie was, I honestly do think that maybe, I know Mantis isn't coming back for sure.
Yeah.
Rocket, maybe Star-Lord. Like I said, Chris Pratt said he is going to come back as Star-Lord, and we see at the end of the credits that says Star-Lord will return. But yeah, let's talk about Rocket. To me, I'm going to say it, Rocket's my new favorite Guardian member.
Same. Rocket's always been close to my heart, but especially after this movie, he's definitely back on my top. I love his character. Plus, I love animals, so. Yeah,
and just, you know, him not accepting that he was a raccoon. And then we see that scene to where he rescues all those other animals and these adorable baby raccoons. And it says that he is from Earth. But just like you can see, the High Evolutionary was experimenting on animals from Earth when he was visiting to see how he can perfect the world. And so Rocket finally accepts that he's a raccoon, finally. And he finally says his name, Rocket Raccoon, when he finally shoots the High Evolutionary. And it was such a badass scene. I love that scene. And like I said, Bradley Cooper just gave it his all in this movie. You can just tell. And if it is his last movie, I'm glad he went out with a bang. I'm glad we got to love this character. Granted, we all loved Rocket from the first movie, but if you weren't a fan of Rocket, this movie definitely made you a fan now.
Oh, for sure. And I would be really sad if this was his last movie, but at the same time, I'm happy it ended on this note.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of expect a Rocket Raccoon to retire. Like, you know, maybe settle down with a family, but, you know, Lila got shot. Stupid, yeah. Way to tear my heartstrings, James Gunn. God damn. Yeah. All right, now let's start with our positive list. We only have one mixed feeling, and we kind of hinted at it earlier in this episode, that the marketing and trailers for this movie made you believe that someone important was going to die. Now, let me just say this. I'm glad everyone got their happy ending. I'm glad that Drax got to be a dad again, because he rescued children off of a high evolutionary ship, you know, as we saw in the movie, you know, and he took them in and he spoke their language, and he was basically their goofy, fun dad. You know, Nebula loved herself again. Peter Quill finally moved on, and he went back to Earth and is making amends with his dad. Rocket is finally the captain of the Guardians now. So everyone got their happy ending. But in some way, I kind of do wish a Guardian did die. To me, I think Drax should have bit the dust.
Yeah, I kind of wish that because the reason that I feel like someone should have died is because I feel like it would have like higher the stakes of this movie and it being the last one, but at the same time, everybody got their happy ending, so I'm also not mad.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else felt like this, but during our horoscope scene, when they're trying to find like the kill switch login for Rocket to save his life, I thought Drax died in that scene when he got shot by the sentries in the front. I'm like, okay, well, he got shot in the front, and he's still moving, and then he got shot in the back. I'm like, yep, he's dead.
Yeah.
There's no way. And then they tease it 3 times in this movie with Drax, Rocket, and Star-Lord. I don't know. And then I thought Rocket was going to die. That didn't happen. And then Star-Lord, I thought, I was like, there's no way they killed him.
Yeah. The fact that they even like had a whole heaven scene for Rocket was just when I was like, okay, he's really going to die. Oh my God. But no.
Yeah, like I said, would it have made the movie better? I wouldn't say it would, but it definitely would have raised the stakes.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, when would I have killed Drax? Maybe during the horoscope scene. I think that's when I would have killed him. That way they would have been like, crap, we rushed, or a better scene was when, remember when they rushed the high evolutionary ship on Counter Earth? Yeah, I felt like, and Drax rushed to that ship. I felt like that would have been like a really emotional moment if he died saving Mantis or Nebula or someone, and then that would have raised the stakes, saying that this man, the high evolutionary, is powerful as fuck. Yeah. I mean, we see it. He shows it. But it really would have raised those stakes to where it's like, crap, anyone can get dropped and die.
Yep.
And then if Drax would have died, then I definitely would have believed Rocket died after that whole cardiac arrest thing.
Yeah, I would have been really sad, though.
Yeah. And that's going to do it for mixed. Now, for negatives, we have no negatives.
No.
I can't find a negative. Like I said, maybe some small nitpicks, but not enough to warrant negatives.
Yeah.
So this is the first film review that doesn't have negatives. I can't think of any. Maybe when I rewatch this movie, I'll find some negatives. But as of now, I have no negatives. This is an easy 9.7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, for me, it's still a 9.5, but it's still an amazing movie. Like, I still have a few nitpicks myself, but there's really nothing negative for me. So.
Yeah. It's an amazing movie. That's all we're going to say. Yep. Definitely. All right. Now that's going to do it for our film review, spoiler-free and spoiler review of Guardians of the Galaxy Vol.3. It's top 5 best MCU movie and top 5 best superhero trilogy movie. It wraps up everything so perfectly, and I'm glad James Gunn went out with a bang. And for anyone that's still worried that James Gunn could possibly fuck up the new DC universe or the Superman Legacy movie, no, he's going to do good. I trust him.
Makes me really excited for the new Blue Beetle movie, too.
Oh, yeah, because James Gunn was heavily involved in that, I believe, too. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. As always, take care of others and take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace out, everyone.
Bye, guys.